Hello, everybody. Um, how is everybody? I'm waiting on my friend real quick. He's the one who, well, I already knew about Mycopunk, but he's the one who got me the game. Very thankful that he did. Um, he'll be here in a minute, but yeah. I mean, this game is interesting. This game is interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I enjoy it. I did already actually play a little bit of it, unfortunately, but not too much. Oh my god. I was gonna say, I don't know. Oh, well, there he is. Hold on. There you are, you beautiful bastard.
How dare you call me that?
Oh, come on.
Right. Before we get started, does this mic sound better, or does this mic sound better?
The other one, while not having as much quality, is a little easier to understand, while the second one sounds a little clearer, but not much more, you know? I don't know if I
No,
just
that,
I don't know if I just contradicted myself. Hold on. And also, I'm noticing that reactive isn't working. Hold on. I don't even think can they. Hold on. Say something real quick.
yo.
Okay. Okay. So I just need to. All right. I need to reactivate. Reactive.
Go.
Replay
Oh,
attack
crap.
detected. What? What does that even mean? Hold on.
Oh,
Active.
god damn it. It's doing that again. Man.
Doing what again? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we are. Uh-oh. I just pulled up my headphones. Hold on. Also, just still love the fact that your profile picture is just fucking Miku eating. Uh-oh. Why did it turn on my gross face? Why did it turn on my gross face? That's weird. That was weird. Okay. But did it even... I'm still not seeing you in here for some reason. That is odd.
And I'm having trouble with my headset. Give me a sec.
Well, you're fine. And even then, I'm having some odd technical difficulties on my end. Refresh. Properties. Ah, there it is. Hold on. What? It's not even doing it. Man. Oh, wait, that's right. I'm dumb. I don't have my gross face in here yet. You know,
Alright, give me a sec.
you're good. You're good. Hold on. I'm messing with something anyways. Let me see something. Can I not?
Actually, I'm curious of something.
What's up?
Can you hear yourself?
No, not at all.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna put on some audio. I want you to tell me if you can hear it, because if not, then I won't wear headphones. I'll just use TV speakers.
Okay.
Because my headphones have been acting up. I don't have a headset. I just use my Sony headphones.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Just open something with sound.
Oh. See, hmm.
All right, are you able to hear anything?
No, not yet, actually.
Okay. Well, I have the volume pretty loud, so maybe Discord's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Okay. Maybe we can play without me having to have headphones on. That would be nice.
And I'm not hearing anything so far. I think I broke something. Hold on. Hold on. I think I broke some.
Something.
Hold on.
I think I
There we
broke
go. Okay.
something. Funniest thing.
I fixed it. I'm trying to see something I haven't done yet. Which is I can change the costume of my character, so to
Mhm.
speak. So basically, making it be separate, like faces. Now, granted, I'm using an application that's not like. Then again, I wonder if they've updated it since then, since I downloaded it first. But it's kind of small. Like it's not like VTube Studio. I am slightly hearing audio coming from your side, but every
Yeah,
once
I
in a
know.
while.
Give me a sec. All right. Try talking again.
Hi.
Are you hearing anything?
No, but I will say it is a little harder to hear you, but it'll be fine.
All right,
It'll be fine.
let me get this working. It's just every time I connect them to the computer, they always turn on talk to mute, and it mutes audio whenever I'm talking.
What? Why does it do that?
I don't. It's a Sony feature.
Ugh,
That's really stupid.
and you can't turn off that Sony feature.
I've tried turning it off so many times.
Oh, of course. Leave it to fucking companies to force you to have something you don't want.
Are you gonna work, or are you gonna be a pain in my balls?
Or at the very least, like
God, why does it keep getting turned on? Okay, I got it off. How do I sound now? Hello?
sorry. I was reading about the whole Roblox controversy that happened. I mean, I don't even think it's right to say controversy.
Oh
By
yeah, the
the,
whole that they're defending the creepy people on that website.
or rather, more specifically, which it may not own. I'm not saying it's not that, but it's probably more likely it's greed and that at the same time. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
them banning Steppy. I don't know anything about Steppy, but I, as far as I understand, they've been catching people, predators
Hmm.
on like Roblox Discord servers, and yeah, no, Roblox's response to it is obviously just fucking filler, so they can say stop doing that. But it's just hilarious to me because the fact that, excuse me,
Are you able to
the
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, cool. I'm going through settings and seeing if I can change it.
Cool.
But if you can hear me good and I'm not shouting, then that's preferred.
Yeah. I mean, you sounded about as clear as you usually do anyway, so that might be for the best. You knew.
Look, I'm about to change rooms, and I'm thinking I might get a mic stand for my
Hmm.
mic and put it next to the couch. So
That's not a bad idea.
just be patient. Yeah, I know. I know. Be
I,
patient with me.
I mean, I'm not upset about it.
Well, I'm about to take my brother's old room, so
Are you able to turn on the sound suppression
sound suppression. Let's see.
or noise suppression? I mean, sorry. It should be like if you look in the bottom left, there should be where you say voice connected and who you're talking to. There should be a little like a couple lines with a slash through it.
Lines
Or
that slash through it.
it's beside the disconnect button, right next to it.
Oh, one says more options, or
No. Not the user settings. The button in the bottom
yeah,
left, like literally in the bottom left of Discord. Yeah, you know what? What am I doing? Let me just screenshot it.
yeah. I was just gonna say screen share
Oh wait,
because I'm like,
oh yeah. Let me screen share because apparently I couldn't screenshot it for some reason. Oh, I'll just have to stream my screen then. Wait, what? Discord isn't even Dude. Dude. Dude.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what this means?
What?
This probably means that this is also Discord attempting to, like, stop people from... I mean, it could be either or, but it's probably stopping people from catching fucking predators and shit.
Oh, I see it. I found it.
Yeah, you found... See if it works. Sound. It should be, like, noise suppression by Crisp or something.
Yeah. I mean, I could...
Turn it on and see what it sounds like.
I mean, sounds good to me. I don't know what my levels are. My mic is pretty far away, but that's fine.
I mean, I'm not hearing as much noise, which is good. All right,
then I'll leave it on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess I'll turn the game screen on now.
Yeah. Am I creating a lobby or you?
Huh? What was that?
Are you creating a lobby or am I?
I guess I'll create a lobby. Should I host a public one or?
Up to you. I don't really care.
Let's just do let's host a public, and then I'll send you. Uh oh.
Hi.
Oh, you already joined. Nice.
Yes, I sure did.
You know what? Let's roll a dice real quick, cause I can't, or flip a coin, cause I can't pick between glider or scrapper.
That's funny, because I've been using what's his name?
Wrangler, yeah.
Yeah, Wrangler and Bruiser. Oh, I unlocked a really cool skin for Bruiser. You need to see this.
Actually.
I unlocked the uniform.
I think I got uniform for Wrangler too. Hold on. Pick a number between 1 and 2. 1. So we're going with Scrapper. We're going with Scrapper. Right. Also, I can't believe I didn't notice this the other day, but every room, or every time that somebody comes to the game, whoever they're playing as, their room of that character's... In fact, where's... Okay, let me see, because I was just in Scrapper's...
Oh yeah, the colors match, yeah.
I love how Bruiser's room is, like, honestly kind of boring. Like, wait. Oh, that's cool.
I just changed it.
Yeah, see, Wrangler's got, like, you know, posters. I know you mentioned it, but I'm only just now, like, really seeing it. Like, movie post... Oh, God, that's obnoxious. Your skin is obnoxious. Okay, hold on. Alright, just the idea that there's, like, films in the future that are primarily filled with a robot cast is...
Oh yeah, you want to see what else I unlocked? Finally,
what'd you get? Oh, the disc launcher. You got that disc?
It's so good. It literally just cleaves weapons off.
Nice.
It's so powerful.
But is there a drawback?
Well, yeah, the upgraded one, you have to call back the plates manually, but I unlocked an upgrade that calls them back once they hit a surface. So it's now just a big sniper rifle.
Well, that's cool.
Because they literally travel until they hit something.
And they're pretty quick, too, so... I mean, you might still need to adjust for trajectory or something, but...
Yeah, but they do damage on the way back, too, so...
Oh, nice. Love smacking chips.
So wait, a new amalgamation hunt.
Is this new? I don't remember this being here.
It might be. They did do a patch update.
Oh, you know what? Let's see what they changed.
Crap. There's missions now.
What do you mean? Oh, oh, cool.
Oh, that's actually really cool. Huh. Oh, I also learned what the premium loot license and all that is.
Okay.
So basically, once you unlock them, your next upgrade drop. So this is a premium loot license. Your next upgrade drop is guaranteed to be for one of the weapons you currently have equipped, so it can be used for farming. And then the personal access token is your next upgrade drop is guaranteed for your selected employee. So if you go do an amalgamation hunt and you get the rare drops, if you have one of those equipped, they're guaranteed to be for something you have.
Okay.
Instead of completely random.
Right. It's still slightly confusing, but that's only because, like... Well, how many can I even see if I have any? Okay, yeah. Oh! No, I have plenty. I have to use them.
Yeah.
Right, I have to use them. Right, personal access token, your next upgrade drop is guaranteed. Like, see, that's the part I'm getting hung up on, because it's like, well, how come I haven't seen him? Blah 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 blah. You know?
Yeah, I started using Wrangler because I unlocked a really cool upgrade for his lasso that lets him have 2 charges, so I can literally fly through the freaking air like crazy.
Gotcha. We're also gonna have to do yet another mission with Yuko.
Okay.
I swear that's. What's that?
I'm here for the fun, but there's a new amalgamation, by the way.
A new one?
Yeah. I have yet to beat it.
Let me double check something. Let's just go for more Yuko, or
fine with me.
Moldy Tundra, I guess. Are you good?
I will say that after the patch, this game is a lot harder. They have buffed the enemies a bit. So just be warned, the difficulty might be a little higher than you're ready.
Okay, but is it like just a general boost in damage or what?
Yeah, and also they're a little more aggressive.
As if they weren't already. Great.
I know. I know.
As if they fucking weren't already. We're gonna start slow. We're gonna start.
I put it on swarm intensity, like normal, and I almost got my ass kicked.
What threat level?
Threat 3, which is what I normally do.
Oh god. Yeah, let's start it slow first to see how it,
getting some implants recently.
how it feels.
Nothing too crazy. Maybe just a flamethrower or something in case one of those crawlies gets up there.
Do they even have a name? Now I think about it, do those things even have a name?
No, not really. They're fungus, which is where Myco comes from.
Right, no, like I got that part, and I mean, granted,
really,
this game, although yes, filled with fungus,
Drop pod.
I feel there's not enough. I feel like there's not enough. Personally, I don't think there's enough.
Alright, I will take off the skin.
Help! Help me! Help!
Yeah, you're on 21.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. You don't want to know what mission I'm on. You really
god.
don't.
40.
Close.
50.
I think my last one was 42.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad though.
All right, we got simple weed whacking duty today. Get to killing and thin the population a bit.
Oh. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I think the maps are the same actually.
I don't know. I noticed.
No, come here. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. Oh, I also noticed they had some new texture.
Got a Yuko bomb here.
Maybe I never noticed that before, but on their like joints, it looks a little odd.
Open to Vizia cache.
Oh no, they absolutely updated the textures a bit.
Okay, that's good. But over here is one of like the telephone poles thing. I was doing a honestly precisely this kind of mission, I think, and literally the entire time I was just going up and down this zip line. Here, if you could bunch them up real quick, because I'm gonna grab the Yuko over here.
Got a Yuko bomb. Find an enemy.
Actually, you know what? That'll work. Oh, I missed the car. That's right. Get stunned, bitch. Oh, that was crawling up there.
Say that much.
Really bad time for this, but I think.
It's ridiculous picking out weapons.
Wait, is resource pickup now client side?
What do you mean?
Maybe not client side. I think previously, if you picked up resources, I think we all got it, but now you opened a Vizia cache and oh, that disc flew right by my face. Holy shit! Yeah, no, that flew by my face. I can hear it in my ears. That was weird. Hold on. I gotta do something. Hold on. I gotta turn down the game audio a tiny bit.
Alright. Also, plate launcher can go through shield because it's not.
Let's
Right,
melt something
right.
For some
with
reason,
this
it doesn't
Yuko.
count as a projectile.
No, I
Oh
think.
no, they patched it.
Oh, it does now. It's probably well. It might be. Well, depending on what kind of fishing we're talking about. Usually. Uh-oh. Hold on. There you go. Depending on the universe, some shields are based off of like speed, projectile speed. You know, like at least that's the way I think of it. If something's moving too fast, it gets stopped by the shield. If it's moving slow, it's fine. Kind of like Dune, honestly.
Run!
Get over there.
there.
Yup. Okay, so no, I got it. That was the one that I blew
Okay.
up. So okay, now we have to pick up our own Yuko and stuff now.
Yep.
That's unfortunate, but fine, whatever. I'll deal with it.
The only downside to this weapon is if you miss, it takes a while for the blade to come back.
But I mean, at that point, you just switch to your second weapon, you know?
Yeah, really, because it can actually return to you while your weapon's still
I was about to say, I didn't think they would not have that, you know? Ow.
But I'm waiting for the upgrade that that when you shoot it, it pulls you along.
Oh, wait, really? That's hilarious.
Oh, okay,
I'm-
so I unlocked something for the jackrabbit. Check this out. Are you ready?
Yep. Oh my god, you just jetpack joyrided it.
Yep. It was it's one of the epic ones.
That's insane.
You're making short work of these guys. Halfway
This is
there.
cool.
This is cool. Come here, little guy.
Hey, on your load.
Oh, you want?
Hi.
You jumped right.
Hey, look over there.
Where's the
Oh, we got
In a
another.
big deal.
Yo, we got a lively one! Get on back!
Oh, all of them exploded. Uh-oh. Of course they spawned right on top of me. I kind of wish they added melee weapons.
Yeah. No.
Like, it sounds stupid, but honestly, it's the right kind of stupid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Melee wouldn't be a bad idea, really.
And think of it, like, one of the upgrades could be, like, literally, as you swing, it increases size or something stupid like that.
Okay. Oh, that was close. I almost died. Yeah, a lot more suicide ones, just so you know. Man,
What's that?
they spawn. A lot more of the ones that come and blow up in your face. They spawn a little more
Keep it up and I'll take you out.
Is that in the patch notes?
Not really, but I've noticed that they have been spawning a lot more frequently.
Oh, that one's got an
We got
upgrade.
an upgrade. Yep.
Oh, come on. I can
What?
skin for Wrangler again. I don't need a skin
got
for Wrangler.
something.
I already got a skin for Wrangler that's kind of decent, I guess. It's not exactly what I want for him, but you know. Like usual, I want everything green. Green and blue, possibly. This one's the skin I have on is kind of alright. I don't like that it glows, but you know, whatever.
That sucks because I have like a greenish skin for
Scrappa.
Scrapper.
Well, is it one of the glowing ones?
Yeah.
You know, the exact ones that I don't like.
I think it was.
I'm pretty sure you showed it to me. Pretty sure it was one of the ones you showed me.
Probably.
Uh-oh. Alright, it's getting kind of heavy
Been
here.
dead on the killing side.
Hi.
Keep at it if you want, but I suggest getting out. You don't get overtime after all.
I just love the fact. I already said this, but I love the fact that the metal noises they use are literally from Half-Life.
Oh, that's great.
I recognize it from my time in Gary's mod. It does feel slightly different, but Alright, let's go. Wait, why is the drop potted? Oh. The wrong side, that's why.
Guys, look at this. Idiots! Over here!
I landed on top of it, but that's okay.
Get your eyes on this.
Oh, we have two others. I didn't realize that.
Oh, you only just now realized? I remember your character saying hi.
I do. I don't think they're gonna come.
Right over here! I know you can hear me! Right over here, please!
I can't keep
Idiot!
the pod there for
Over
much
here!
longer.
Come on, guys, get in the pod.
Right over here! I know you can hear me!
Apparently, you actually can get in it as it takes off. I have seen someone do that.
In the pod, sillies.
I got
Oh.
shish kebab. Hang on, that's for the plate launcher.
Oh, I wonder what that does. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, that's a new thing too. People love doing that. They're running out while it's taking off.
Oh, I wasn't able to do it in time.
Killed 88 enemy. God damn. Alright, let's see what that does.
Oh.
Plate pierce through oh my god.
Dynamite deployment doesn't sound too bad.
Plates pierce through enemies.
Oh. Well, shoot. I need more
That
Gusula.
sounds busted.
What happened with it? What was it?
Plates pierce through enemies.
Spear through enemy. I don't feel like that's specific enough.
No, it pierces through enemies, meaning it doesn't
Oh.
stop when it hits one.
Oh, now that I like.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of... Oh, it just goes right through.
I mean, that makes the. I guess that makes the issue you had mentioned before of the reload time essentially taking longer. But it does mean you go through more enemies, so you could use it kind of sparingly, like a sniper rifle.
Eh. Well, like I said, with the whole it returns as soon as it hits a surface, it doesn't really slow it down. Because as long as the only difference is that it doesn't return when it hits an enemy now. It only returns when it hits a surface.
But if it pierces through the enemies, right? Wouldn't that theoretically mean that it would go to the ground?
I guess not, because I just tried it in the training ring, and it went right through them until it hit the wall behind it.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I guess it works with that other ability of it instantly returning when it hits the ground. Because ordinarily it would hit an enemy, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a clip, right? It's just like literally one thing,
Yeah, it has energy. So basically it's got a battery. It's got like 100% right now, but if I shoot it and then it comes back, it's at 98, 96.
But every time you fire, normally, anyways, you have to press R to retrieve it, right?
No, normally you just hold down the fire button again.
Okay.
But like I said, I have an upgrade that automatically gets it back as soon as it hits something.
Mm-hmm.
But now it goes through enemies until it hits a surface. I just love that it's literally just a magnet and a giant metal plate. That is all this weapon is.
I know, and the fact that the metal plate is like way bigger, unless it's an upgrade. Is that an upgrade that makes the plate like much bigger?
No, this is standard size.
Because when it shoots out, it's like wider than you are. Yeah, like literally, like literally, it looks like.
I know, and what's funny is there is an upgrade to make the plate bigger.
Oh my god, this is funny because
so imagine that with shish kebab.
Yeah, literally just slicing things in half, like
flying blade.
It just looks like a piece of concrete that like a tank from Left 4 Dead would throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, have you actually played Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, I have.
I thought I
360 when it was on there.
Oh my god, no. Nothing wrong with the orange box, don't get me wrong. Well, actually no, it was an orange box, my mistake. Nothing wrong with it, but man, I'm almost tempted to do a freaking challenge run with Left 4 Dead. I'm not, like, I love Left 4 Dead, but I wish they would just make another one. I understand why they haven't. Just, I really wish that
they don't count the 3.
Yeah, they can't count the 3, right? I don't know if we should continue. No.
Need help! Doesn't matter who!
10 seconds alone.
That little
Get
bit of
inside, get
nonverbal
ready to
communication between me and them.
Wings can't handle a little mold.
Nice.
I'm sure your jetpack would love a tank full of mold.
Go get us some good money.
It burns. Oh, it burns.
Who needs explosives when we have your ingenuity?
Oh, Roachy, where you at?
On my way.
I wish he could come with us.
Help a cowboy out, would you?
Need help! Doesn't matter who!
That'd be great.
Need someone
I
now!
don't see. I would hate to have a mission where you gotta keep him protected. That would be obnoxious.
That's the sound you'll be hearing like every
Facility
5.
went dark a while ago,
The
but
whole
its power
time.
core didn't. Break
Upload.
in, grab the thing, haul it on
Yep.
home. It'll be heavy, so make sure to load it in the pod with you.
Hey, I can see the other side of it.
Alright, let's see.
Uh-oh, it's spawning.
Hey, look over there!
Uh-oh. Explodey bomb.
Hey, look over there! Better big help. Thanks.
Well, that's new.
What happened?
Look at the shape of that one.
I'm losing connection.
Oh, no, that's not
Stay
new.
inside the zone.
The egg-shaped, almost egg-shaped one, football
Well,
one?
this one is actually company filings. Filings for a faster
haven't
upload
seen that
relay.
one.
What a recovery. I enjoy the bonus.
Yeah, I got a Yuko bomb here. Find an enemy.
Guys, I found some bees here.
Easier.
Look at this.
Oh, what the heck? Yugo bomb.
Got a Yuko bomb!
This one's exploding.
Oh, I should have remembered to use one of the little ass thingies. What's that?
So do we know where the facility is?
Guys, look at this! Guys, look at this! Guys, found some bees over here!
Let's melt something
Didn't
with
it
this
used to
Yuko.
be a big square ball?
Square
That
ball.
door's sealed tighter than
Or a
most.
big...
Sending down a laser turret to help you
Ah,
pop it open.
interesting. It used to be like a golf ball.
Oh, well, I'm not sure. I don't think so. Maybe honestly, I'm starting to wonder how much of what you remember is the truth and how much of it's just like brain see update, think everything change.
Also just could be the area.
That's a possibility. I love how you just kind of wobble on it. Oh, so that's how they make your
Inside, find
view
the power
shake.
cord. And
By
don't forget
literally
flashlights.
shaking you.
Probably. Ah, I died.
Oh, really? Dang.
Yeah, I'm all the way by the door.
I got you.
Oh my god, wow.
Yeah, and it was invulnerable too.
Let's put this bastard on.
Oop.
Oh, rat. That's a lot of fungus, isn't it? Cut through as best you can and get the
Reducing to
core out of there.
scraps.
You can bet your ass it won't give it over willingly.
What is going on?
You're freaking laughing.
Good sir got
Holy
excited over a glowing bomb.
Right,
because
it's in our hands
of all
now.
the ricochet
Make sure
I
it
have.
stays that
No,
way.
no, no,
Get
not
thing
that,
rolling.
not that.
Lots of creepy crawlies closing in on us.
Somebody left a comment on the stream. First comment of the stream. Good sir got excited over a glowing bomb. Well, who wouldn't? It's explosives, especially a scrap. Are you kidding me? It's like,
True.
oh, that's another bomb.
Get out of that.
I wish I could see when people leave comments. Now, I'm technically checking like the Twitch view.
Moving this thing!
I really should switch my view. I shouldn't use my laptop for viewing Twitch, or viewing the, oh my god.
Don't worry, I was healing. Don't panic if you catch fire from one of my bombs. I heal you.
Wibbly wop.
Physics on this are not great.
I was about to say, honestly, oh,
Oh, you trapped me.
I trapped you? How?
Because I was walking with it and I was stuck in the wall.
Oh, so that's why it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't see. There's so
I'm
much
getting
going
thrown
on.
around.
I know.
I've got it.
There's
I've got it. We're good.
Oh my god, there's so much
Okay.
stuff.
Oh my god, I'm going so fast. I'm going so fast. Oh my lord, we're going really fast. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
You're getting all excited over the, over going super fast. Huh?
I'm going way too fast.
The core is where it should be. Now
Also,
file
they're,
in and get the hell out
They're
of there.
camping in our spot.
Are they now?
We need to get over here
Guys,
quick.
look at this! Thanks! They should make them more like you!
Oh, you guys aren't gonna make it. You guys aren't gonna make it.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh wait, what? What are you doing in there? Hey, what are you doing?
I didn't have a choice. It rolled in.
Bro got selected. Wow, what is going
What
on?
happened? They get left behind.
Oh my god. Oh, that was the drop ship. That was the drop ship. Oh. Oh no. How did that even happen? Like, did you start it without us? I kind of wasn't paying attention.
I was no. I was rolling the core. When the core reaches the drop ship, it immediately starts an extract. I tried to keep it from getting in without you. It didn't happen because enemies spawned.
I see. Okay. I mean,
that wasn't up to me, man. It really wasn't.
Let's see. How many Yuko do I have now? Let's
That was great.
let's do one more Moldy Tundra, and then I'll think we'll go for something with Gusula.
Okay.
Satellite salvage.
Oh boy. Some more rolling. Got it.
Yup. In fact, 2 things to roll. Oh wait, what's the Oh wait, I'm going the wrong way. You know, there's another game I really want to play. It's not exactly the same type of game, but have you heard of Jump Space? Or rather, it was.
No, I have not.
It was called Jump Ship originally. I genuinely don't understand why they changed the name. But frankly, I mean, the name is not the strongest suit of the game. So the whole point of it, right, is that it's kind of a crew combat type of game where it's a few different people in a spaceship doing specific things, right? Well, not specific, but, you know, walking around and doing some things. But also, you know, there's planetary or, like, you can get out of the ship. Like, it's not like you're stuck in it. And...
Hey,
Oh, I think I know what you're
where
talking
did you
about.
find
Okay.
this zoo from?
Yeah,
Have
I've
you seen
seen
any
that.
other
I
restaurants
played
called,
the-
like,
like it?
Space or something.
I picked it up from the last big rodeo. But
I swore that it was like called
Is that a
like
sporting
Keep
goods store?
something.
No, it's a film.
It was called Jump Ship
Bomb
originally,
release,
and then they
but,
changed it
we'll talk about
recently
that.
to Jump
Don't mess around
Jump
with the
Space.
movie?
I'm not sure
It
which one
works,
you're
don't it?
talking about.
Besides, it ain't dead yet.
Oh, but I can feel that day getting closer and closer around you people.
But yeah, it reminds me of another game that came out not too long ago called Wildgate, or no, is it Wildgate? Yeah, Wildgate. Basically oh no! Oh, never mind. Still works. Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Management's worried
It was
about our
so
sex act
loud.
quotas.
Was it
Make
really?
Sure you're not using it
I'm
to
so
upgrade your
sorry.
gear.
Okay. Alright. I guess nobody else is joining. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it.
This is cool. Thanks. I'm calling you the next time I need anything. Idiots! I over here, please. Idiots! Idiots! I over here, please.
Idiots! Oh.
Great, friend.
Oh, who joined us? Oh, nobody?
I just did that.
Lame, you got me all excited.
Round up on me.
My way.
I wasn't top if I have, but okay. You can't bring the car in.
Oh no!
Drop pod is launching in 10
Wings
Uh-oh.
can't handle a little mold.
I'm sure
I'm
your
getting
jetpack
torched.
would love a tank full of
Try to
mold.
stay in one piece out there.
If it burns,
No way.
Who needs explosives
Like,
when
can
you
I
have
not
your
revive
ingenuity?
you?
No, well, that's not me. I'm down here, but that's not me on the ground. That's all broken. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. If you're not in the ship, you get spawned.
shoot
here.
840 guys, need some help here.
I'm starting to love this kind of low-key inside joke where we just
There's a
yell
satellite
help all the
up here
time.
somewhere, and we gotta harvest it. Get those decommissioning stations connected, knock her down, and get to grabbing.
I got the pink one.
Okay. You trapped me!
I did? Uh-oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just got stuck.
Look, guys, a UK bomb. Bezia.
Open the Bezia cache. Let's melt something with this Yuko. Guys, I found some Bezia.
Okay.
Open the Bezia cache.
Need help over there?
Yep. Put it up here, and now I can't get it down.
Oh no. Oh no. Why'd you go
There's
that
a
way?
way to do I had to go around the tower.
let me see what I can do.
Just be careful, because you're gonna go flying off the edge.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah, I've got it. I just need to drop down on the ground. I got this.
I know it's fun to throw them, but the line can't connect if they're too far.
Don't be mean to me, Rochard.
Oh, I almost had it.
You pay your bills, Rochard.
Oh, I almost had that. Hang on.
I just wonder if I could... What if I,
Oh no, the ground's too far.
Hold on, I have an idea.
Fuck this over.
Oh, they got it.
Oh, we got it?
Kind of. We still need to turn around.
Oh no, I have an idea. Yes, it was my bad idea that got us in this mess, but I have an idea.
No.
I would do it. I did a mistake.
No, not that. That was just a random mushroom boy just staring at me. Can I not? Okay, that's not
I
gonna
know
work.
it's fun to throw them, but the line can't connect if they're too far.
I'm solving it.
Okay, see that?
Oh,
Guys, look at this.
There you
Thanks.
go.
They should make them more like you.
that's gonna be a fun roller coaster. In fact, I'm gonna ride it. Let's go.
That was kind of the idea, was to make it fun.
Ah! Unfortunately, you kind of get hugged, you get stuck on something halfway through, so it is not a roller coaster, unfortunately.
Well, that sucks.
Unfortunate indeed. There we go.
Go to Yuko bomb.
Now you gotta go reconnect the other sides.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go for the red one, you guys get that one.
You mean pink?
Whatever. Pinkish magenta. Do you want to get specific here?
Mm-hmm. Come on, little beasties. Come on.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get more Yuko. Look, guys, another Yuko bomb.
Really
easier
put
here.
the intensity on. You could probably put it up a notch. There's 3 of us. On the next
Yeah.
one.
Yep. Unless they leave.
I'm saying for solo play,
I'm
putting
seeing
it
a
on 3
data
was
deposit
kind
near
of
your
crazy.
position. Probably
Yeah.
a bunch of useless numbers, but I'm sure there's some extra cash in it for you if you get them out.
Got a Yuko bomb. Find an enemy.
Oh, that's a fun graphic going.
There we go. Give me all the Yuko. Let's go. Oh yeah. My body is a machine that turns enemies into Yuko. There's more Yuko.
How mad would you be to find out that it's spelled, or it's pronounced Yucko?
It's not.
Got a
Yuck.
Yuko bomb.
Maybe it's Scrapper's
Or
accent, but I'm pretty.
Ueko? Or Ueko?
Yueko. Yuko. Yuko. Still Yuko.
Oh, we
but-
also have an upload nearby.
Upload, where is it?
Over here.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are dealing with this. I got it.
You go!
I just turned around and saw the tower enemies that's following you.
Shields down. Ah! Get launched!
That one was filled with the
There
same
we go.
picture
That
copied
was good
literally
about it.
millions of times. It's all just the same weird looking bird? Whatever. Bonus is yours, and all those birds are off in cyberspace. God help us.
Birds in cyberspace. Birds in cyberspace. God help us. I kind of wish they combined into multiple, like, the cluster of balls, you know?
I wouldn't put it past that to be something that happened.
No, well, the fact
Yeah,
that it
higher
hasn't happened yet.
Well, I don't know. I've not played it higher difficulty.
Well, no, at higher difficulty, they just spawn the different cores rather than they
Let's
just
melt
spawn with
something
different
with
cores
this
rather than
Yuko.
multiple. That's kind of the point I'm getting at.
Ah, got it.
Guys, found some easy over here.
Alright. Not
Yeah.
pretty good, but it works. I will do the furthest one.
Alright, I got the closest one then. There you go.
Got a Yuko bomb.
Got it.
Need help. Doesn't matter. Need someone now.
No! Surprised we haven't. No enemies have spawned yet. We're in a minute.
We might be a little very far spread out that they may not know where to do, or they're waiting for
Decommissioner's
a.
power. Take out that satellite.
There it is. Yep, they were waiting for the objective.
Yep. That's usually what happens.
Arctic.
Here it comes.
I'm out, man. I over here,
Satellite
please.
is there for the stripping.
Of course.
Alarms are gonna go nuts though, so keep those guns
Emergency!
out.
I'm down.
They get killed by the satellite.
Yep. Uh-oh. Yuko rolled into... What the what?
Bring those cores over to the launch pad and blast them up. I'll take it from there.
Punch your core, bitch.
Depends on the threat level.
Moving this thing.
7 being the horde rush. Huh. Well, hold on. Could you, I don't know how delayed the stream is, but, Mr. Asian Gamer Random Gaming, if you could refer to which thing you were responding to, please and thank you. Mushroom. I wonder how much of like the plant life here is actually mushrooms. Like, are the ground mushrooms too, or is everything mushrooms?
I don't know. I think no, because I'm pretty sure that we're doing.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So,
We're doing
Asian Gamer Random
extermination.
Gaming was responding to when I said, "Where are all the enemies at?" And he said, "Depends on the threat level." 7 being the horde rush. Right. It's just weird that sometimes there are genuinely periods where there's no enemies for like a couple minutes, and then like plenty of other times where they just don't stop. And I don't know. I don't know if I want it to be consistent
I
or
knew you guys would
inconsistent.
do
You know
well
what
with
I mean?
this one. Great job cleaning out that satellite.
Alright, are you ready to go?
Odds coming down.
I think
Make sure
so.
you won't get in this
Ow.
time.
Nope, I'm gonna get called it. Mark just called it, I think.
Now that's just plain unkind.
All right, another job off the list. Great work as usual. Hold your recall switch when you're ready to call the pod.
Already done.
Also, we really should do that, because sometimes we get the bonus objective, like, before you leave, you gotta kill 5. I've done that, and it gives double digits worth of reward.
Really?
Because it's a hard objective to get, because you
Right.
have to extract and kill. We got an immunity generator. Check it out.
Yep.
Try.
All right.
Nope, I'm not dying here.
Oh, another one? Well, somebody must have picked it up. Yep. Someone must have picked it up.
I got it. It's dead.
Oh, that does it. Oh. Mushroom is the invasive invader. Is that about the enemies, or... I mean, really, the environments are filled with mushrooms. I can recognize a few of these.
Well, technically in real life, too. Mushrooms are very invasive.
If y'all high enough ranking for the event mission, we have done the amalgamation if that's what you're asking.
I haven't beaten the new ones on the new ones.
Oh, you did say that, but I wasn't sure if... Oh, wait, oh, right, dropship. Let's not get distracted now.
Oh, we got plenty of time. It's not like we have an abomination to deal with.
True. Love the 0G1.
I got him.
Popped.
What does this need? What does this need?
Running down the time on the drop pod. Don't
All right.
get left behind now.
I'm in. Other mission overtime.
Wait! Oh my god!
What up? What's up?
I grabbed Arctic! No, wait. Wait, where are you?
Right in front of you.
Oh my god, I grabbed a player and pulled them out of here.
Alright.
Let's see. Plenty of Yuko. Other mission overtime. What's
So I
overtime?
have something called. Oh, nice. Plate alignment. Recall plates faster.
Hold on, where's overtime? Oh, I see. Yeah, no, we're not. I'm not high enough level yet. That's something we should do though. Overtime. I mean, how much?
Oh, overtime's a bitch. I have seen streams of it.
I'm
It's
apparently
insane.
almost there, but I don't know how to check to see where what my.
Do you see the amount of modifiers you have to deal with?
No,
Okay,
Well,
I will read off what we have. Are you ready?
hold on.
And it also can't be turned down. It can't be turned down past level 5 threat and deadly for swarm intensity.
Okay.
So here are our modifiers. So we have Dave versus Goliath, which is abominations spawn much more frequently.
Oh god.
Warranty expiration. This mission is timed. When the timer runs out, players no longer regenerate health.
Oh god.
Tread carefully, no team revives. If everyone dies, the mission fails. Horde, enemies constantly spawn, grunts are more common. Fog, the area is covered in a thick fog. And gallbladder, enemies leave behind an acid puddle when they die.
Oh. You know what that just sounds like to me? You know what this sounds like to
Hell.
me? No, it sounds like we're fighting xenomorphs. Sounds like we're fighting xenomorphs. Nah, that sounds good.
Jesus Christ.
Better off with a
Great.
team with hyper DPS.
Hey, Scrappy-O.
I guess. I mean, we're kind of just playing for fun, really, even if
Don't
we...
call me that.
No promises. And, I've been meaning to snap some new promo material. Real action shots and the like.
Sounds fun. Been having a problem with artifacting on the feed though. These little dots always end up in the middle.
You mean your crosshairs, the aiming program?
Alright, so here's the deal. I am gonna help you. And this never happened.
Scrapper
Never
doesn't
got
know what
blackmailed
reticle,
anymore
what a reticle
It's
is.
fun.
Just shut up. Talk to you later, you twit.
I love their
Oh
all
my
their
god, the
friendship.
plates come back so
I
fast
was learning
now.
how to speak Kazash for about a month. Turns
Yeah,
out
holy crap, that's
Arabs
almost
used
semi-auto
Kazakh
right there.
blown to bits 20 years ago. They just started lying about it on the website.
Oh, hang on, I want to activate another loot license. I want to keep getting upgrades for this thing.
Oh yeah, I need to remember to do that too.
Have you guys seen the news lately?
Yeah, I've had
You
one
stuff
active
the
every round
Sachi
because
military?
it upgrades a new item.
Oh, yeah,
for
something about how the...
plate
There are
launcher.
a bunch of really... Anyways.
Whoa! I didn't know you had a sensor.
Yeah, it's an old political one. Production company standard for doing interviews and such.
That's
Ah, damn. I got the old profanity one.
Sounds like a bitch.
Sure is annoying. I keep asking Scrapper to remove it, but I always get laughed out of the room.
better description
hilarious.
is being at Helldivers 2 Creek Bulletstorm. Oh yeah, I was there for the Creek. I want to stream Helldivers 2, but I want to wait for the supposed Halo whatchamacallit.
Yeah. Apparently, there's going to be a crossover.
Oh,
Because
I'm so
I
excited.
believe one of the new landing spots is. God, it's been so long since ODST, but is that planet? So.
It may, yeah, maybe. Well, it may not be called New Mombasa, but it might be the same location.
Well, you know what's funny is they picked the exact date the way they did because it's the exact date of ODST.
Like when it takes place?
Yeah, it was August, whatever the date was for release of it.
No,
of the Xbox
no,
version.
no. I think August. Well, I think somebody said it was because of it was when the Fall of Reach happens, which is either 24th or no, it ends on the 26th. So the collab is either coming on the 24th or the 26th.
Yeah, but there's actually like a lore tied to that. So
No, I know.
I find that so cool.
I just love the fact that they're Halo fans. I mean, it makes sense, and frankly, we've been waiting, and I hope we get the... I just don't know what weapons we're gonna get. Because getting Halo weapons in Helldivers is gonna be like immediate game over for me, or in a good way, I suppose. I really want more Gusula and Yuko, but they don't have any. We're gonna do Gravity Farms. Won't mind getting the Needler. Yeah, the Needler would be cool too. I mean, I feel like if they do implement something like a Needler, actually, now that I think about it, they probably wouldn't add a Needler for one reason. See, they have a whole kind of graph or spectrum of what they allow.
Hey, Wrangler.
As
Where did you get that lasso from? Never seen any
damn,
other
I can't talk over the
equipment like
characters. Or
I picked it up from
Power Hammer,
the last big
possibly.
rodeo.
Oh,
Brought the favorite.
Arctic left.
Probably because it took too long.
That's fine.
We can quit private and it could just be you and me. I don't mind that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Anyways, the only reason why they probably wouldn't do the Needler is because it's a Covenant weapon, and they'd probably want to stick to UNSC weapon.
I was gonna say it would be better if it be a UNC. Yeah.
UNS. Now, don't get me wrong, I want the Needler, but they're probably only gonna do like UNSC weapons for the sake of keeping with the theme.
Are you putting it to a private lobby, or are you?
No, I'm keeping it. I'm leaving it open.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, staying in the air. Oh, what the hell? Staying in the air.
How much does that do to you?
I mean, you hit me twice.
Holy cow! That's 150 damage.
Yeah. I was at a quarter. I took a quarter of my health.
Over that little red kill line,
Magna
and it's
pistol
your
2
job
times
to bring it
size.
back
Silly
down.
idea from H3VR. Oh, hey, look, a beacon. Oh my god. I mean, the Magnum from Halo is already pretty powerful as is. All right, what is this?
Oh yeah. Have you not found the laser yet?
No, we've only got the last argument.
So fast, though.
Nah, that's fine. All right, but don't.
Oh my
Don't forget-
god, this thing just slices through things now.
That's
Gusula,
amazing.
over here.
More than it used to.
Excuse me. I almost low-key hope they would add the sniper rifle, but I don't know. Considering we already
Gusula,
have,
stalk here.
of course, considering we already have a couple long-range weapons of that ilk, probably not. Most people are saying the suppressed SMG or maybe the assault rifle, but I don't see why they would add the assault rifle. Just considering
there's a lot already in the game.
there's already, I mean, considering the standard issue machine gun in or assault rifle in the first place is pretty all right.
I can see them adding the DRM.
The DMR.
DMR. Sorry, it's been so long since I played it.
You know, you're fine. Possibly, I feel like the Diligence is already kind of what the DMR is. To be fair, like to be like, I don't explain it. Like, just because it's I have to remember though, just because it's a crossover doesn't necessarily mean that they have to add a unique weapon. But if they had to add something unique, it'd probably be the suppressed SMG or the shotgun.
I was gonna actually say probably like the rocket launcher. That one's iconic.
That's cool. I don't know if they would add that as a primary.
Added as a field order.
A stratagem, maybe.
Yeah, it absolutely could.
It could fit like kind of. It could fit like a niche between the EAT and the. Oh my god, what is it called? The commando. Alright, the core is open on this.
thing's going doom!
It's this.
Uh-oh, upgrade.
Alright, look over there!
Smart slide.
Marathon.
Tank? You think they'd add a tank? Oh, that'd be cool. I don't think they would. I mean, we still need to get, like, a tank, a regular tank to begin with. The Scorpion, but the Scorpion would be cool. I understand, though, why they wouldn't. It'd probably be just...
years to realize that all of the Covenant vehicles are themed after ghosts.
You're right. Banshee, Wraith, Ghost,
Godzilla, right on
Phantom. There's another one. Seraph.
Except Scarab. Scarab's the only one that doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, because it's technically not a vehicle at all.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Just remember, well, I mean, maybe it depends on the game, but usually it's actually controlled by, I think it's the hunter worms. I forget what they're called. Their species is named.
But also, Scarab's just a walking fortress.
Right. How do I drop stuff again? There
I
you go.
don't know if you can.
That's okay. Uh-oh.
I died.
I've personally witnessed... Yeah, massive colony of worms. Right. But I feel like I've seen some, in some iterations where you can go inside. Well, that would be just 3 and 4, wouldn't it? And 2. Oh man, I need to play 2 again. Just because 2 is like the one I've played the least. Well, that and 5,
that's
but...
funny, because 2 is the one I played the most, because I had an original Xbox.
See, I was one of the kids that missed out on playing, like, Halo as a kid. I mean, understandably, you know, parents didn't want me playing mature games. But I remember when I first learned what Halo was, it was when Reach was around. Man, that was so long ago.
So good. We should have played it some Reach. I have Master Chief Collection.
I need to get it still, but... hey,
Whoa,
hey, look over here!
Finley.
Look, there's these 2 immunity generators. Just... Look. Look at them.
Yeah, I see 'em.
Do you think you can wrangle
Godzilla,
one of them?
dude.
I'm gonna try.
See if you can pull them away from doing that, or...
No, it pulls me towards them.
That's unfortunate. Okay, so they're just gonna... Wait,
They're
maybe
actually
they...
stuck.
Okay, I figured it
Oh,
out.
there we go. Okay.
I figured it out. Okay,
Yeah,
so...
the generator can't be invincible.
Well, not that actually. I think the generator actually has pulses. Or rather, maybe the whole thing is that they kept changing targets. Either way, it had moments where it wasn't invulnerable. But yeah, I really want to
Look
play...
at that, halfway through.
I think my favorite
I don't know why I
Halo
was even worried. You
Nah.
guys are doing great.
would technically be Halo 3 ODS team.
Well, yeah,
But,
Halo 3 is like the top game of all time. Like,
well, specifically the ODST one, which is slightly updated. Also, I just love the fact that Halo 3 still looks super good. There's only a couple things I would want remastered on it, you know?
yeah,
Like, textures for sure. But here's the other thing about Halo that I really like. And most people don't probably find gross or cool, but blood transformations. I don't know if I've said this before, but like I am fascinated by like that kind of body horror. For aesthetical purposes, of course. Because it's incredibly difficult to do. It's part of the reason why they didn't even bother in the first 2. Like in the first one, oh.
Help! Y'all gotta
So,
fix me!
how long were you in need of assistance?
just a little bit. I literally just died.
All right.
I swear these guys have gotten faster.
I think so, but they probably removed their like weird jump ability. Like you noticed how they used to kind of just zoom forward.
This thing's going through!
Yeah.
Especially the oh god, that was a big one. Especially the explosive ones. But yeah, I agree. They've definitely gotten a little faster.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Because they can swarm now, whereas before they kind of were kind
Meandering.
of out. Yeah.
Quota's been hit on the killing side.
I think
Be
they.
mad at it if
I don't
you
think
want,
they
but
increased their
I'm just
general
getting out.
speed, but
You
rather
don't get
allowed them
overtime
to
after all.
walk faster, more commonly.
Yeah. God, my last one
That's
goes
all
so
listed
far
tasks
now.
done and buried. Good work. Hold that recall button when you're ready to bounce.
You want to see how far my lasso takes me now?
How far? Oh. Oh my god. Wait, you can do that in the middle of the air?
Yeah, because I get two. So,
Well, the lasso
I
is
can
always...
literally... Huh?
I was gonna say, the lasso is always let you, grab the middle of the air.
Yeah, it's a rocket. You literally throw a rocket out.
Huh.
But I can do it twice.
Oh, that makes more sense now. Okay, well, these guys are getting all of my...
Oh man, I have a lot of fall damage.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
He's gonna blow!
Oh, ow.
He's gonna blow!
Oh my god. He literally landed on top of me.
Help! Would you get
Why
your
am I
ass
the
over
other-
here and repair me?
why
Would
am I
you
always
get your
putting
ass
you
over
back
here and
together?
repair me?
Because I'm playing a lot more risky.
Or maybe I'm better aim. Could be possible that I also have better aim.
Very possible.
But I'm not here to flex or anything. Here, could you do me a favor?
Like,
Do me a favor and bunch them all up real quick. I have a... Don't shoot them. I wanna do something satisfying. Just kite them like you're playing Nazi zombies real quick. All right, you ready?
yep.
Oh yeah, that's satisfying. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Where you going, buddy?
So we can extract anytime, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ready to leave?
Getting all distracted.
Loud and clear. Pod's on its way.
The other thing is, I feel like they lowered the pod timer. It used to be a minute, didn't it?
Just about. I remember seeing 50. It might depend on the It might depend on like difficulty.
Oh yeah, it might actually. That's very true. I think we're about to have a moment.
Honestly, I'm almost tempted to bump. Oh.
No, we can bump it up a bit.
Oh, we got a helicopter.
Dude,
Oh my god. He's fucking glassing the planet. Uh oh.
Oh my
Again.
god.
Would you get your ass over here and repair me?
Get in. Wrong way. Holy crap. Well, that was that was explosive. God damn.
I shot my thing out and it took so long to come back because we're flying.
Hey. I leveled up on the laser cannon. How do you level up on a weapon you can't even... Ah.
Ooh, sharper edges for the plate launcher. Hang on.
What does that do?
Oh my. Damage is increased.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it takes up a lot of spots though.
Hmm.
Okay, hang on. I gotta figure out how I can max this out the right way.
Hmm.
Gotta do some adjustments.
Do some tweaking. Tweaking. Mine's tweaking!
Well, because it takes up 6 slots.
Hmm.
It's kind of a crazy one to be real.
Scrap that. I don't need that.
It's not gonna work. Okay, so I have to. Oh wait, that'll work. Yeah, I can have every upgrade installed.
Him.
It took a while. Okay, so plate launcher battery capacity increased, damage is increased, plates recall faster, plates automatically recall on impact, and plates pierce through targets. Wait, did I unlock? Oh, I got to level 5 with it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Electrified. I just unlocked another one. Electrified plates.
Dang.
Plates apply shock. Oh, that's absolutely.
Ooh. Bullets auto target while sliding.
Ooh, that's
that. Yeah. No, I know. That's gonna be hard to beat. Tracking radius.
Okay.
Let's scrap this one.
I have to pick between shish kebab and electrified plates.
Shish kebab.
No, I actually think I'm gonna go with electrified.
All right. Excuse me. Jeez.
Oh, man, I see why you guys do this so
Oh,
much.
I thought somebody randomly joined our call. I was like, what the fuck? I thought somebody joined our call, but it was just Rocher talking. I was like, there's no way. It's like, there's no way. Who the hell got in here? In fact, I was being...
Okay, hang on. Where are you? I want to see how much damage this does now.
Oh, no. Ow!
Oh! Okay,
That's
385.
That was a third of my health right there. And that was forward and back, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Let me heal again. Hit me.
Hi!
Yeah,
Oh,
that
you dick.
With
was
electrocution,
that was a third of my
actually
health.
worth-
Okay, let me see something here. Because I'm gonna use my hold on. I'm gonna use my this. Tell me how fast. Actually, I can probably see it.
Oh wow, I'm almost dead.
Yeah, the laser on this thing is pretty good. The cycler is an all right weapon, all things considered.
Well, I have an upgrade for the DMLR,
Excuse me.
or whatever it's called. That gives it corrosive core. Basically, the laser does corrosive damage, and it can melt right through people. But I'm sorry, this plate launcher is becoming my new favorite weapon.
I kind of wish I had it, honestly. You know me, I usually prefer the sniper weapons.
What level is your player?
11?
Oh, you should be able to unlock it.
How do I...
Pick one of your weapons, and then...
Wait. Oh, I see. I should... Yeah, you're right. Okay. I kind of want the lead flinger, but I need more, Yuko.
I mean, if you want to try it.
I need more.
Okay,
I need more Yuko and Gats, but I also need more Gussa. It's like the two.
Oh wait, can I actually unlock the lead thrower? I think I can. Hang on. Yeah, I can. All right, I'll pick it up and I'll get rid of the jackrabbit for a little bit. Since the plate launcher's upgraded finally. All right, let's see what the lead flinger can do. Oh, it fires as fast as your fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see what kind of upgrades I can get for this. Okay. How many licenses do I have? I have 4 licenses.
Ow!
It healed you. Shush.
Keep it up and I'll take your arms.
Oh my god. This thing does 44 damage a shot.
Keep it up and I'll take your arms.
What do you think you're doing?
You are being erratic again. Don't worry. I will give your little gizmos a good home.
Bring me back, sir.
Ahoy!
Alright, let's go.
Alright. I do not have the jackrabbit this time, so if we get screwed with the boss, good luck. Well, because the jackrabbit is like my maxed out weapon. So. This thing has 113 shots. Before it runs out of ammo.
What is that? Oh, the... what?
Yeah. Well, no. In total.
Oh.
It's a 6-shooter, but it has total ammo of like 113.
I see. Okay, I was about to say, there's no way that they're fitting more bullets in one little, revolver. Cylinder, that's the word I was looking for. Damn. Damn. I love when I forget words. Alright, you ready? I'm starting it.
Scrapper,
Yeah.
can you build me a slot machine?
A what?
Slots, Scrapper. I need to gamble.
What are you on about?
And beer.
10
Beer.
seconds
Yes.
to launch.
Make
Get
beer,
inside and
Scrapper.
get ready to
The
run.
fact that Bruiser can even, like, consume alcohol in the first place,
Go get us some good money.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I just don't know how it's possible. And how it even affects him. I love that you hold it like you're holding like a PDA or something. Hold it out real quick. Yeah, you just holding it like you got a clipboard.
Oh, why is it dark here?
Fun one today. A small portion of the planet's defenses is available
Oh,
and
it's
ready to
actually
blast
dark.
an
I didn't
unID'd
know
ship
that.
to pieces.
Nighttime!
When'd they have that?
I don't know, it probably was already here. Alright, where are we going?
Cargo pod is inbound to your location.
Well, we kind of need a scanner to know where we're going.
I thought you just killed
Power
yourself.
stations are all down. Follow the signals of those scanners and get them cleared.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die already. Holy cow.
Use those
Okay, this
scanners
one's
to
good for
locate the
piercing,
gun's gun power relays. Clear the
Or
gun,
armor.
turn on the power, and we'll be good to go.
The lead slinger is pretty good for piercing.
Alright, let's move to the game. Oh my god! Stop yawning!
Okay, I actually really like the lead slinger. This thing's pretty good.
I'm probably gonna. I mean, does it work like a pretty standard 6-shooter?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it does a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. Does it reload like
No, I
bullets
don't.
all at once, or is it like one at a time?
No, all at once.
Okay.
I don't have the mobility anymore because I accidentally forgot to swap back to Wrangler, but that's okay.
Well, remember I have the
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, I will do that. This ain't the darkest, he says, or Asian Gamer Random Gaming says this ain't the darkest. I agreed. You know,
I've never seen it ever get dark, so.
that reminds me.
Holy
You
cow.
know what? You know what's one of my like video game pet peeves? That was a question directed towards you, Sachi.
Yeah, what is it?
When video games make night, well, not every game, but when some types of games make nighttime super bright, it pisses me off so bad. Like, I understand for gameplay reasons why, but man, like, I have a flashlight for a reason, or I have night vision for a reason. You know, make night vision useful. Like,
Yeah.
what game was it? Oh,
No, I
hey,
agree.
there's Yuko over here. But, like, oh god,
Let's
what's it
melt
called?
something with this Yuko.
Ghost Recon Wildlands and Breakpoint. Hold on. Those two, I swear, even though like one of the games added it after launch, like some darker nights option, it's still not dark enough, but also the night vision freaking sucks. So it's like useless half the time.
Good work, but this thing is greedy. Find another
That's just
station
my thing
and
with
get it
night
out of the
vision.
way.
It's just like, don't add it if you don't intend on making it useful.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Ain't no reason for it if it's not dark enough.
Well, that, and if it doesn't even light up the environment like it's supposed to. Now, I don't mind 100% if it like makes it a little harder to see, right? Like it's not just straight up, oh, you can see in the dark now. It's you can see in the dark, but it's a little blurry, or you have a reduced field of view. You know, that's fine. But let me fucking see. You know, don't let it just be a stupid green overlay where you just brighten the screen a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. Oh, that one's got no legs! The sniper's got no legs! I love smacking
Dude, this plate
enemies.
launcher just rips through them.
Oh, I can't wait to get the 6-shooter though.
It does a lot of. I'm actually really impressed with it. I didn't expect it to do that much.
Because I'm not even. I might even like straight up swap my DMLR for it,
Yeah.
Look at this.
or rather, I can't decide if I want the DMLR or to replace it with the cycler. Like the cycler is just a good, reliable weapon, but you know it's kind of boring.
Oh, you got a laptop.
Yep.
I got it. I'll keep it nearby.
Got a Yugo bomb.
Hey, but look at. You want to see? You want to see what I'm about those? So you know how many shots it takes you to get those? Take one of those.
Damn. I would love that.
Oh yeah, this makes cleanup missions crazy fast. And like the ones where you clear the fungus.
Yeah.
Along the trail.
I believe that. Probably makes it really freaking quick.
Oh my god, weapons don't stand a chance now. That's crazy.
All stations
long are my
online and
days of,
connected. Planetary railgun touching down nearby.
So long are my days of being the one who usually got rid of the weapons.
Catch the laptop.
It,
No, I'm
Is it
kidding. I threw it for myself.
okay, I was like, is it just me or is it not going really anywhere?
No, it doesn't really. It's finicky.
And it spins like crazy. Uh-oh.
It's
What
the
the-
death
oh.
rock climbing.
Oh, you said on the image, or on the laptop?
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at the laptop. It's the
Yeah, no, I
death
see
rock
it.
climbing.
I love when games have lots of little tiny references, like I said before, even though I mentioned it to you, like the, oh my god, what is it called? Cult of the Lamb. Then there's, Hollow Knight. I don't know what the other things are, though. It's a little hard to tell from here. I bet you if I got closer, I'd be able to tell.
Use your guns to knock those clips away and unpack that
So there's
sucker.
a fast one heading your way.
Is there now? There you explodey?
No, it's just fast. I literally can't outrun it. Okay, yeah.
Oh, but there's a oh, explodey! Oh, I love the new jetpack upgrade. Holy crap! Oh, we got a
Wait, let me escape them pretty quick.
we got a 0G. No, I didn't want the 0G to go away. I don't know why I shot it.
broke it open.
Get out of here!
God, bigger weapons only take 3 shots.
Maybe the auto tracking
Alright,
bullets aren't
set
really
up.
useful.
Now use that terminal to target the rogue ship.
What do you mean auto tracking bullet?
Remember I told you earlier that I got an upgrade for the cycler that's adds auto tracking whenever I slide.
Oh, that's actually really cool. So you're saying it's not that good?
It's not that good because I already have like a blink. Also, you have enemies behind you.
Yeah, I know I'm doing.
Target acquired. I'm sending down some batteries.
Hold on.
Railgun rotated to
I got it.
position.
I'm melting
Make sure
them.
they don't break.
That's crazy how far these things can go.
Grubbies are ravenous today. Keep them off it so we can finish firing.
Let's do something with this Yuko.
Can't not kill it yet.
Oh. Are you trying to throw Yuko at it?
Yeah, I missed. Damn it.
Or because I did something.
Nah.
Woo! Sniper abomination!
Yep, sure is. I've already cut through its outer armor. Oh, I ran out. Oh, wow. I'm clearly, like, just slicing through its outer armor.
What was that? Uh-oh. Battery needs assistance.
I've almost got the abomination down on my own.
You almost got the
That's
abomination.
Yeah,
Imagine this
literally.
shit.
Also, for whatever reason, you're getting really quiet on my end. You were.
A stranger crowd.
Oh, I got it.
Ow,
I picked
ow.
that off. Oh my. Oh, it dropped upgrade. I heard it. Oh, it dropped purple. Ooh. I got a skin for the plate launcher, and I got
Oh,
a new
nice.
upgrade. It's called salad plate. I wonder why it's called that.
I'm not seeing an upgrade for me. Shame.
It's down the hill here.
Oh, it must
It
have
might
fallen
still
out.
be there.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Can't go from it, but it disappeared.
Well, it's not like I can't get it at the... It's not like I won't be able to get it at the end of mission. Yeah, no, I just got a...
That is true.
I just got a regular upgrade. What I already had, too.
That's not.
Fixing this. Cover me.
God, there's so many.
I'm not gonna have room on my upgrade panel for all these upgrades for the plate launcher. It's kind of that I've got to pick and choose.
I mean, it's part of the game.
That's how they balance it, I know.
It won't be
I
perfect.
mean, eventually, if you keep using it... Uh-oh. Hey, did you notice the laptops underneath the map?
No.
Oh, I found it.
I was like, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I was thinking maybe some...
Doesn't mean it can't,
Coming
but
down.
it should be able
Almost
to.
there,
Like,
gang.
it should respond.
Right. There you go. That may actually be useful now. I love when the little guys have like a big ass arm.
Alright, we gotta activate this thing.
Grab a key and turn it. Teamwork, people, come on.
Alright, you want me to drop a pod
Sit
immediately
back and
after
watch the
fire?
fireworks, gang. You heard
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
I can't even see the little bugger on this thing. Yeah, there. go.
Gotta do this shit up.
That's right. Pop.
Not our fault. Maybe all our fault. But there's a lot of debris inbound. Get out before the area is.
Oh yeah, now it's a minute 30.
Alright, I need an explosive weapon, honestly.
Good job. You completed all objectives. Hold recall to request a drop pod for extraction.
Already did.
Alright, go ahead, hit it.
Already did.
Oh, you did? Oh, nice.
Right now I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah, there's so much going on.
They hurt a lot more now. Ah.
Ow.
Well, actually, you put it to level 4, didn't you?
Huh? Yeah, I did.
Okay, that explains why.
Why it's a
Even
bit more
I'm not.
chaotic.
Yeah.
You can handle it.
You can get me.
Of course, I say. Of course, you die right when I say that.
I mean, that's
I'm not that
par for
heavy. Give me help. I'm down. Please
Par for the
assist.
course? I don't know. Oh wait, laptop.
Oh yeah, grab the laptop.
I got it.
Oh my god, if I died, going back after grab it. I almost did.
Another laptop.
I got my
on
speed.
collection. Soon it'll have enough to do a house of cards type of construction.
House
yeah.
of
Oh my god,
Bonus log, too.
I got an exotic for the lead flinger.
This is the big fat doobie.
Yeah,
What does it do?
I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
I'm back.
I'm gonna look it up and see what it does, but it's exotic, so that means it affects it just how it
Full
is.
range.
Okay, so only one bullet is loaded in the chamber, is much larger and deals more damage. Okay, I have to see this,
Oh, that sounds hilarious. Oh my god.
and I need to see this for myself. All right, I bought it. It's expensive. Holy cow! I also got a new one for the plate launcher. Fire more plates at faster rate. Plate size is reduced. But I get 7 plates? Oh, hang on a minute. Plate size is reduced, but I get 7 of them instead of 1.
Nah, I don't think. I don't know about that one.
I'm gonna try it.
Alright.
Well, because having more ammo means I could have like 4 out flying around. With electric. Oh my god. Okay, that basically turned this from a semi-automatic to basically...
Oh, I see what you mean, but I mean, the problem is now, I mean, unless you add that one upgrade that increased, like, the,
Yeah, the size. Yeah, I know. But I don't care. That's awesome. So that means now this is actually really formidable. Because it didn't lower damage. It just lowered the size of the plate. It also didn't lower the speed.
Which,
All right,
I
let's see
mean,
what
to be fair, that would effectively reduce it, though. To be fair.
It doesn't look that big. Man, how much damage does it do? Oh my god, it's 169 damage now.
Yeah, but that technically was a little less than it was before. But
Yeah,
I
but
mean, you can fire faster now, so I guess effectively.
No, because it's only 1 in the chamber. So no, actually, it's not.
Wait. Oh, are we talking about the disc launcher or the 6-shooter?
The 6-shooter.
Oh, okay, because you did. I didn't hear when you switched. Because originally you were talking about the disc launcher.
Oh, check out the skin that I unlocked for the plate launcher. This is actually a sick looking skin.
Oh, it's so
It's
you.
graffiti.
Right. I mean, that would be my scrapper skin. Okay. Let's. Time is it? Really 9? Let's do an amalgamation.
Alright. And let me make sure I've got something equipped that I want to upgrade, that I want to unlock with.
Do I? I probably can't, but okay. Actually, actually, I've changed my mind. Let's do another mission for Gusula.
Alright. I'm here for the ride, so.
I know. Let's keep it. Let's do the Saxonite transport.
Alright.
Okay, but let's take that. Let's take that off. Frankly, I think it's unnecessary. There really isn't any range. Yeah. Oh, dude.
And I want to go see how fast this kills them. Oh my god.
What?
Okay, I'm on weapons duty, that's for sure.
Funny noise.
I can't get this to fire faster than...
That's still pretty good, though.
So wait, what happens if I take off the upgrade that calls them back automatically? I'm just curious. Do they stay out?
I want to see them
That's
staying
what I
out.
want to know.
Do they? Wait, hold on. Let me see something before you call them back. Oh.
Oh, that's sick. Hang on.
Hold on. Oh. Okay, so it calls them all back at the same time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Stop calling them back. I'm trying to do something.
What, you want to try to jump on them?
I'm just trying to see if I can step on them.
Yeah, they are platforms.
I can step on them.
Yeah, you can. You can use them like a platform, you know.
That's hilarious.
I actually kind of like it when they don't get recalled with this upgrade, so... Okay, hang on, I can game this right. So let's see.
Well, the question is what you replace it with.
Shish kebab. I put that back on.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good. Because, I mean, it's already a habit to press R all the time anyways, so...
Not R, you just
Satellite
press fire
connection is
again.
still incredibly
Oh,
choppy.
right.
But if anything good comes on while you guys are down there, I'll record it for you.
Where's this going? Wonder where the server access codes are. Ooh. Hey, I found another crate. Stability.
Guys, look at this!
Hang on, I'm still upgrading.
Yep.
I'm deciding, do I want... I think I'd rather have the electrified
Guys, look
plates
at
and the
this.
recall faster than having shish kebab. Because I can't have it all. That sucks that I can't have it all, but I understand for balancing purposes.
Well, I mean, you keep upgrading it, eventually you're gonna... you know?
Yeah. Are you shitting me?
No?
Uh-huh.
Better hurry before I forget to tell you where the thing is.
Okay, hang on.
Is that?
I could get rid of the damage increaser since. God, the sugar pop, that's so good.
Getting yowny.
Oh, I figured out how to do it. Okay, I figured out how to do all of it. Awesome.
What?
There was a way. Okay, where is it? Where is it?
It's up here.
This is cool.
Oh yeah, I've gotten that one.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah. I don't remember what I unlocked from it, but yeah, I've done that one. Did you just shoot me?
No.
Alright, we're doing a normal one, right?
Yeah, I want to unlock the lead. I want to unlock the 6-shooter. So I just need a little bit more before I can. A little more stuff.
Yeah, by the way, it says fires slugs as fast as you can pull the trigger and reloads faster after getting it killed. So.
Alright. Oof. Ah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the recall to be almost instantaneous. Kind of. I never knew how much I wanted more ammo on this. Well, it's just a slab of metal being launched by an electromagnet. I'm sorry. That's
Right.
sick.
So kind of like a dumb.
I was learning how to speak Hazash for about a month. Turns out it was this pyramid scheme since Hazaran was blown to bits 20 years ago, and they just started lying about it on the website.
Hazash. Wonder what Hazash is.
Alright, ready when you are.
Yep.
Dropping the pod in
10. Get inside and stay inside.
It didn't seem like you were ready, actually. Oh, what? You were in here?
Go get us some good money.
Yeah. What, you trying to leave me behind?
Baby. Just for fun. Hey, wait, have you been watching Digital Circus?
Yes.
Watch the most recent episode?
Yes. That broke me, I'm not gonna lie. That was a hard one to watch.
That was pretty good. I can't wait for the next one. Honestly,
All
though,
right,
you know it's
we've
almost
got a
done,
bunch
right?
of unrefined Saxonite that needs to be loaded and escorted
It's
over to
almost
a
done.
rocket.
how many episodes
Get to
did they
that
say they were
dispenser
doing?
thing, and we'll go from
8
there.
or 10, I can't remember. But it was only gonna be 8 or 10.
I hope at
But
least.
Jax is absolutely going to extract. There's no way.
Extract?
Abstract.
Okay, I had to make sure I was hearing you correctly. I don't know. I almost don't want him to. I want him to wreck it, to redeem himself.
Yeah, but the thing that made me
Couple of
question a
loaded
lot
hard
in that
drives with your
episode
name on
was
it.
the fact
Upload them
that
and you'll net a
Kinger
nice
is able
bonus.
to produce things that heal, which makes me think that if
Muscular
they
stock here.
believe they can do things, they can actually change their reality.
Guys, look at this.
Possibly. Hey, look.
Yeah. What's up?
I look over there.
Oh, an upload right here?
Yep. Odd spot. Oh, you know what? I really want some, plantain chips or something. Oh, really? All right here. Come on.
On top of us.
I'm losing connection. Staying inside the zone.
Oh my god.
I blew him up.
Would you get your ass over here and repair me?
I blew him up.
I literally got, spawned on.
Watch out.
Losing connection. Staying inside the zone.
Oh my god.
Piss me off.
You got any explosives you can use?
Wait, is there a modifier on this level?
I don't know.
There has to be with all this.
Put me back together, you twits! You need me out there. Get me up.
Damn it, gang. These repair drones ain't cheap.
Uh-oh. Well, we might not get this upload.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh.
What level did you put it on?
I didn't change it. It's the same one.
That's crazy.
Just keep running. Run in.
I know this is exciting, but I need you guys inside the zone.
There you go. That should make it a little easier.
That was really good because that made my freaking computer.
Oh, we got a bruiser. Let's go.
Going boom.
I just died.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to hold up a sec. There you go, we got it.
Just a bunch of numbers and shit again. Thank God. Money's on the way.
Oh, he's got full skin.
Pink.
Purple.
Pink.
Oh, well, when you're spectated by him, it looks black and purple, so.
Or magenta.
No, that's more like a purple than a pink. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna fight on that one. That's a purple.
You might have less
That's
color
a
codes.
No, that's a purple.
You have less color. You have less color cones. Do you even know what
weapon does he have?
What is that? Yeah, what?
Wait, that's the plate launcher.
Oh my god! And he's level 23.
Oh my god, that must be like an epic plate launcher.
Uh huh.
Oh my god, can you imagine that with the multiple ammo?
All right,
Oh my God.
like a monkey and start rolling those things. Land them in the right port, and you'll get it loaded.
What?
You grabbed the wrong end.
Huh. He's blown him up.
Put me back together, you twits!
See that? I think he's blowing me up.
Come on, you little rascal.
Ha-ha!
Ratics. Don't be a little bastard.
I wonder if it's someone stream sniping you.
Hope not.
Shit ain't funny, guys! Need some help here!
What the what? Oh my god, that's insane looking.
And nice work. Got that one loaded in.
Boy, is.
I think he wants to
Much
use.
lighter than I thought it would be.
I think he wants to do the barrels. I don't know why, but he keeps shooting the barrel every time I go to use it.
That's fine, I got one of those.
I know, but still, I don't understand. I can't imagine I'd be popular enough for stream snipers yet, though. And even then, they would have to know my. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, this thing just drifts right through it. And being able to do electrocution
And nice
damage to them.
work. Got that one loaded in.
I'm not that heavy. Give me up.
Oh, he's down. Hold on, I got him.
God damn it.
Oh, you too, huh?
Oh, he has the one that pulls you along.
Huh. Guess he's got you then.
I guess. I'll let him do what he wants to do, but...
Oh god. Ow! What?
Come on, you babies, let's get this moved!
Yeah, he must have like one of the epic ones. Cause I'm pretty sure that's where that one is.
Yeah.
Bad for groups though, because remember this
Need
game
someone
has friendly
now.
fire.
Literally, he keeps destroying it by accident. The range on that, like, late launcher, I'm gonna call him, like, laser sword field is kind of insane. Let's go.
Received and locked.
Alright,
Nice
just have a
job.
sack snipe barrel.
Yep. I'm assuming he'll take care of that then.
Ain't nowhere near it. I'm gonna grab it.
Oh, whoops. Would have been a lovely time to use.
Hey, I made it first try.
Nice.
No, don't fly. I got it, I'm fine.
I gotcha. Ow!
Great,
I
great.
got
That's
it.
all the barrels. Hang tight while I prep the transport.
Hey. Hiya.
Oh, another Scrapper. I feel like Scrapper is one of the rarer characters to come across.
Send him down the cargo pod. Truck's ready for you, or at least I hope he is.
Oh, right.
Regardless, there's a little thing to flip there for you.
Yep.
I forgot about him.
Let's give these bastards hell all the way there!
Hey, look over there.
Oh, wait, they can spawn an anti-grav grapple? No, that's cool. Oh, and they left. I kind of like the fact that they make the characters talk for
That'll
you.
be how it works.
For saying
Yeah.
hello, like for saying hello or goodbye, because I mean, not saying I don't want people to talk to each other, but you know, you gotta actually make people talk to it themselves, you know.
Cow. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna say something right
Aye.
now. You gotta stay away from that guy with the weapon. It does so much damage.
No, I know.
He almost killed me.
Yeah, and he killed me. He already killed me once. The problem is, I think he's being a little goofy because he keeps almost doing it on purpose.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe after this, we can make it a private.
We'll see. I might even. I was gonna say, it might be the last one too.
Oh, really?
Better be how it works.
I said might, depends on how I feel. I'm hungry. I know it's really late to be eating, but Yuko, not Yuko.
Guys, I found some bees here.
They use the
Perfect!
oh, of course, it's immunity generator.
I got a lot of kills from those. Oh, I didn't notice that guy left. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That way, Mark! If you pack the sandwich, suck her down now!
Dang it. Where's the generator?
Oh, it's right here. There we go. Got it.
Come on, stupid thing. Work!
I'm on repairs for some damn reason.
I'm on repairs for some damn reason.
I feel like he's got that, like, I think he's got like the actor syndrome where he's like, I can't believe I'm doing something like that. Otherwise otherwise Wrangler's really nice.
Oh no, he's fast moving, still an actor.
Yeah, but he's not like, he doesn't like some of those actors. He's definitely nice.
Man, this does way more damage on the return than on the initial firing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Because they collect more, so when I fire them, they spread out more. When they come back, they converge.
I see, that makes sense.
So if I'm kiting, and I call them back, it's just gonna go right through the horde. We've got another immunity generator. I got it.
Come on, lad! Come
Oh, I'm out of ammo.
Oh, fucking...
Don't piss me off.
Well, no, I
Oh,
ran the
hey,
battery.
Randy! Good to see you, Randy. How you been? I know I haven't been playing Monster Hunter much. Oh, that was in my face.
Which Monster Hunter are we talking about?
I played World with them. I wanted to play Wilds a while back, but honestly, with the way it kept, with the way it kept,
Come on, stupid thing. Work!
like, it was better in a lot of ways, and then in some ways it just worked in school.
To be honest with you, I mean, look, I've not played World. The one that I have the most experience with is Rise.
Rise is pretty good, but Rise to me is a bit more of a simpler experience, a bit more straightforward, and I like the fact that it kind of like World felt more like a simulator. It had more simulator mechanics. But yeah, work and school. Wait. Actually, you know what? Never mind.
Would you get your ass over here
you
and
need
repair
help.
me? Would you get your ass over here and repair me?
Yeah, I mean,
Bill!
mostly it's just been
Yeah,
work
would you-
with me.
Would you get your ass over
But,
here and repair me?
There we go. Ah. Sunbreak to school? Yeah. Like I said, I mean, originally I was gonna play with a couple of my other friends on Rise. Wait, Sunbreak is one of the DLCs, is it not?
Yeah, DLC to Rise.
Right. We were gonna do that, or rather, I was trying to get them into Monster Hunter, so I had them try Rise. But I think they might have enjoyed Rise more than they might have enjoyed World, because, well, actually, you know, one of them was, you probably won't know who this is, but Zen. It's impossible to get him to try new things, honestly, unless he's not already hyped for it.
Ooh, upgrade.
Very much, which, I mean, I guess I am kind of like this too, but he's very much, I do what I want. And... But anyways, yeah, I really wanted to get them in the world, but it just didn't happen.
Do the math and don't die.
I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Monster Hunter now, honestly. I mean, they're probably still gonna support Wilds for a while, but I don't know. It seems like they probably wasn't as profitable as they wanted it to. I have a friend like that. I got my friend to play Rise and Sunbreak up until like the 5th, the last most unheard Sunbreak. At least you got them to play consistently with you. One of the two friends, Adam, he did play with me every once in a while, but you know, he's busy, and I mean, shit. He may not be like married or anything, but he feels like a married man to me, you know what I mean? He's cool. I love him.
Yeah. Get your ass up! Help! Help! Y'all gotta. Oh, God,
I got you.
Help me.
Stop screaming at me!
Help! Y'all gotta fix me!
Slam dunk! Damn it! I thought I could slam him. Hold on. Okay.
I was starting to fall through the gap.
Wilds was cool, but it felt.
Okay.
Wilds was cool, but it felt way more one and done. I just beat it quick and dropped it due to the lack of motivation to come back. Help, y'all! You gotta fix me! Yeah, I mean the fact that it felt like they worked on a lot of things, but not actually the kind of things that keep the game going. You know what I mean? Like a lot of cool mechanics, a lot of cool this and that, but they should have just basically done a World 2, you know?
I can't tell if that one dropped anything.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. I got it.
God, I love doing that. Die, monster!
Survive.
Oh yeah, but Randy, this is a friend of mine that I know in real life. I worked with them at one of my jobs.
Sanding it up. Man, I wanna go.
Oh shoot! What's on?
Get out of there when you're ready.
Probably the last time we were talking, I
upgrade.
think I moved. I don't remember.
That's all listed tasks.
Oh,
done
what's
and
up?
buried. Good work. Hold that recall button when you're ready to bounce.
Oh. You know, I feel like calling them squigglies. I feel like calling them squiggly.
But you know what?
Squigglies!
It also sounds like it could be used for target.
For what?
It really does. It's like a squiggly.
It sounds. SMH, a real friend instead of a cool guy who says they are a graphic designer who will make you an overlay for $600. What? Well, firstly, you have to kind of explain to me what you mean when you say overlay. But if I had to get, I understand what you kind of mean, but even I understand like $600 is a lot. Holy shit. That was a friend. Wait, you're saying that was a friend that gave you that price? Boink. Splooch.
Oh my god, it died again.
Would you get your
Again?
ass over here and repair?
Oh.
Yeah, there's hit my ass.
Would you get your ass over here and repair
Stop
me?
screaming in my ears. There you go.
Well,
Let's go.
here.
Rocket's here. Let's go. Nah, I'm just clowning on people who join streams to advertise their graphic design side hustle. I mean, I don't know. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, it is kind of scummy, but because I have always felt a little insecure about doing stuff like that. But like, on the other hand, sometimes you gotta do it, but like, you gotta like do it with some amount of humility, you know? You can't just you can't just like do it like that. I mean, I don't know. It's not like show up on the stream and pretend to not do it, but there's a way to do it. I can't quite put into words what I find to be more acceptable. But, you know, maintain, you know... Oh, Magus Center, we already got that. You know, create an actual relationship with people enough to want to share now. Not for the reason of doing that, but, you know, people will care what you have for, I mean, one of two reasons. They like what you're doing, or they like you, you know, enough to support you. That's kind of the point of friends and family, you know? Make friends and Gotta be saucy and swag before selling an art. Yeah. I mean, if not for the reason that not very many people are going to be interested, but then for the other reason of, if you're going to promote yourself, you're going to seem like, how do I best put this? I don't want to say obnoxious, but it's like, damn, what was I going to say? We might go, you know what? Yeah, let's finish this up with an amalgamation mission, by the way. I think I got one more left.
Okay, hang on. Don't start it without me getting the best weapons I have.
Yeah.
Do you think it should be Bruiser or...
I think for the mobility, you should stay Wrangler.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really do want the mobility. I was wondering if I had anything that increases health.
But like I was saying, what was I talking about? It was about...
I don't know.
I already forgot. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see.
Okay, give me a restroom real quick.
Cool. Huh. That's weird. I thought I already had that on my... Must have removed it at some point. It's weird that most of the stuff I've gotten, most of the copies or duplicates I've gotten of Skylander Giant stream when... I mean, Zen did want to do a Skylander stream at some point, but I guess he's been working on his little project that he hasn't streamed at all. I don't even know if I know how to do that. Also, I got low-key beef with Skylanders. Not because they're bad games. They're completely fine. I got beef with what they did to Spyro, man. I got beef. I got beef. Israel deals shock damage, yeah. I have no idea how to do it, though. That's a problem. I don't know if I actually need to buy figures or anything, or the stand. I'm pretty sure some people have figured out how to do it without. I just don't know at the moment. But I might. Tree Rex goated. Oh yeah, I don't need. I can emulate. Right, like I know you can emulate the game. Which emulation thing is it? Which emulation thing is going to be the most? Is going to be the best? I guess because I'm used to using PCSX or RPC3 or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay, so you can open a menu and switch. Cool. But do you have a suggestion on emulation machine for something like that? All right. Because I mean, obviously the game was on Xbox 360. I don't know if it was ever on One. It might have been before that came out. What is this? Movement ability? That's all right, honestly.
I was learning how to speak Hazash for about a month.
Oh, cool! I got a enlarged grid for the plate launcher.
Nice. Now you can add even more crazy stuff. Bionicle building stream wet. You know, before I do anything with my physical appearance, I think I want to get some like stuff. I don't know. I'm not saying I want to be like, oh, super mysterious. I just prefer some level of anonymity. So if I do something like that, I would want to wear gloves or something silly like that, you know? Will there be a Bionicle lore video stream? You know, speaking of Bionicle, I'm still so mad that they canceled that fan game. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sachi?
No, I do not. Not familiar with that one.
Did you ever get into Bionicle when you were younger?
No, not really.
Shame. So, I mean, you obviously know what Bionicle is, right?
Yeah, I know what it is. It's a branch of Lego trying to appeal to the older audience they had at the time.
Mm-hmm. So
not
good.
Quite adults, but not kids anymore.
Right. Ooh. Hey, wait a minute. Have you done any of the the crafting yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. Because I'm going through it myself.
It's expensive, though.
Nah, but that's why you just keep going. I mean, you're basically gambling.
God damn it! Something's losing my noggin again.
Oh no, you have to pick
Are you a religious soul?
Does the saddle sit well?
Yeah, unknown.
It's not for God to guide my eyes,
stuff.
to beat my heart.
And that costs
That's the way I've always
hard
said
to get.
You don't know
I
those things, you moron.
see. Okay. Wait, I did. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
anytime you craft, you're crafting something you already know. Yeah.
Oh well. Well. Alright, let me unlock the 6-shooter. Bionicle is the best form of bodybuilding. Elaborate on that. Elaborate on that. I want to hear what you have to say about that. Elaborate on that. I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Any necromancer in the world will disagree with you, but okay. Any necromancer on this planet will disagree with you. That is not the best bodybuilding. That's the most legal bodybuilding.
Some people like work out, but you can just buy the 2007.
There's a difference.
Rock. I'm trying to remember which ones I had. I unfortunately did not have any of like the original series Bionicles. I only had like necromancy ain't real, bro. Get the fuck out of here, nerd. Dang, you hear that, Sachi? He's telling you to telling you to get out of here. Bionicle. The Bionicle is real. The Bionicle is real. Oh, now he's just screaming. I can't do that. It's too late for that. All right. Now I need to try the new funny gun. Let's go. Lead flinger. Oh, I love that sound. That's satisfying. Can we get much higher? So high. Oh, oh, oh. I want to put Roachard on here. Yeah, Roachard. Oh, you really weren't kidding. Alright, let's go. Amalgamation.
Man, I can pull you so far.
Hmm.
Well, look at this. You're in the ship right now, right?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Check your senses. I'm with you.
Oh, what? I can't punch you? Gotcha.
Dropping the pod in 10. Get inside, stay inside.
Oh, the fact that you're bouncing.
Would you get your ass over here and repair me?
I don't know if I want to.
Oh, shit, I'm not in the rocket.
Nope. Too bad, bud. You're not coming with me. Wait, where? Oh, you're beneath me. Ah, now you're in. The masculine urge to go murder your friends at games. I guess, yeah. That's like the testosterone in me talking.
Sensors, gang. Keep them eyes peeled. Do your part, and we'll drive that bastard back to hell in no time.
Some people in real life have said I act a little fruity, and honestly, it's kind of true. But I'm like straight, so I don't give a shit, you know. Damn it!
Yeah, this one's a pain in the ass.
Ow. This is gonna be a while. Hopefully, almost exactly 30 minutes. Excuse me.
It has lots of missiles, so just be warned. I have yet to beat this one.
Honestly, It doesn't feel too different.
It's very well. It may not be that different, but
actually, Randy, that is actually a perfect comparison. It's kind of got the though this art style is definitely more inspired by I forget the name of this. It's like some French artist. But the humor definitely feels like Borderlands without being nearly as obnoxious. I love Borderlands, but man, I don't want to hear some guy talking for like straight up a minute of genuine, like, useless nonsense. But also a little bit of DRG too, because, you know, Lord shooting. Ow. Uh-oh.
mission-based.
Yeah, mission-based. The whole, like, resource gathering. I hope to God Borderlands 4 doesn't have something like that.
I'm sorry, but I have to sit out this next Borderlands with how the CEO has been acting.
Oh no, completely agreed. Oh, I love that line. I'm the conductor of the poop train! Agreed. If I was to get it though, I'd get on sale. I ain't spending. I don't know if they reduced the price, but I don't know if they reduced the price after, what was it, like, another company was like, nah, we ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, they were like, it was like, real fans will pay $80 for it.
Yeah, bullshit.
No. And it was actually the devs of Mycopunk that were like, no.
Yeah, no, I know. I think, in fact, I think that was the conversation that got us really, I'll put this, like, you bought the game for me, and I'm wondering if that was the same conversation.
Yeah, it might have been. Is this thing healed?
No, remember, they don't, oh.
Hell no!
Dang, are you using that thing for maneuverability or what?
I'm trying. I swear, their aim and holding has gotten better.
I mean, then again, we are on 4, and of the times we've bought this, it's mostly been on 3 and 2.
Oh, you're kidding.
I mean, the swarm multiplier honestly doesn't make too much of a difference. It's a threat level that matters. Can't wait to see sort of upgrades I can get on this thing. So the big doobie upgrade literally just replaces all the bullets with one big one, right?
Yeah, it didn't look much bigger though.
It didn't look much bigger, you said?
No, not really.
Also, I think this is a shorter range weapon because, yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm now realizing that the lead slinger is really only good in close to medium range. Yeah, but the tracking is definitely a little bit better. You're right. We're almost halfway though, or at least almost a third.
Well, it finally got its outer skin break.
Did it? I didn't see the eyeballs. I don't see the floating eyeballs. Found a dash. That's right. Uh-oh. Missiles out. Hey, I definitely need to upgrade on.
Oh my god, it's one shot.
Oh God, help me!
Oh God, help me! There you go. Alright, I need to take out that big stupid guy. Ow! I can't believe the outer shell hasn't broken yet.
Yeah, neither can I.
You might want to back up. I don't know where you're at. Oh, you're on top of the mushroom. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Have fun. Well, that was weird. It's done.
I hate its acid laser. That one pisses me off because they can reach you from anywhere on the map.
You said about the blue one or the green one?
No, the green one.
Oh, did you already take it off? Because I don't see it.
Yeah, I might have. But it was hitting me a bit ago. It was a lot.
That was really dangerous of me to... Oh,
Bad dude here.
another shell's broken. Hide while you can. This is a really bad time to do this, but... Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. That's so cool when I do that. Alright, laser time. Oh! And look at that.
Oh,
Shield.
you're lucky.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Because all the missiles go into the mushroom.
Oh, he's targeting you.
Upgrade. Thanks for the share.
Well, I'm pretty sure we should... Is it not? Oh, it's
I
blindside.
remember the last time we were playing, the other guys collected them. I got nothing.
Really? Okay. I guess
Not
we'll...
sure if they patched that, but it might have. So, we'll see.
I don't think I've gotten an epic in a while, or the... What is it, exotic? Mind if I get it? If it does have one. Oh, bad run.
Well, let's... Yeah. And that's fine.
Take that. Ow.
Oh my god.
Nope.
Help! Y'all gotta fix me! Would you get your ass over here and repair me? Oh God, help me!
There you go. Ow. Oh, ow, ow, ow.
Well, I see a bit of the core.
What's that?
I can see a bit of the core.
Okay. We haven't heard the screaming noise yet.
Thought I saw it. Could be wrong.
Also, I'm still trying to figure out how much of them is like something that they grow and how much of them is something that they steal, or if they steal at all. But you know, like they spawn weapons on themselves. Though, if I had to guess, it's probably just like, probably just for gameplay reasons, but for simplicity. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Low knobbles! Uh-oh. There we go. Oh dear. Free speed, let's go.
Go eat it, dick.
Ow.
Oh, you're cute.
Ooh, it's getting pissy. Most of it's hitting the mushroom. Gonna be open.
That buzz, I could Hornet's fine. I think its legs are blocking it though. But I don't know how many layers it has on it.
Well, remember it has the outer layer, or the outer armor, then the flesh layer, then the original core layer, and then the core. Or rather okay, outer shell, flesh, inner shell, then core. Ooh, ow, 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 ow. Can we get much higher? Oh, flesh is out on the top. Uh-oh, bad spot to be. There you go. Oh, you opened it up. Alright, now the real core is exposed.
I'm working on the bottom, that's fine.
Alright, let's focus down that core. Ow, ow, ow.
Oh,
I got
god
you.
dang it.
I got you. Oh, come on. Ow. Oh, good. Get back in there, champ.
Oh my god.
Again?
Yeah. The legs hurt.
Would you get your ass over here and repair me?
Ooh.
Oh, I've almost got the corner. Oh my god.
Oh, that's a really bad one. Oh well. Oh wait, I wonder if I could... I cannot. I was hoping I could wall run the outer shield over here. It is so close to dead.
Yeah, I know.
Now it's freaking out. What are you doing? That's a really bad spot to be.
She's gonna blow!
There it is.
Got
Let's
it.
go.
That's all list of tasks done and buried. Good work. Hold that
I see
retard.
two
Ready to bounce.
mythics. Let me have one. Oh my god, there's so much.
Was there only one yellow? Because
No, there's two on my screen.
there's still two. Because I just took one.
Oh, okay.
So we're just like I said it.
Holy
No.
cow.
Yeah, I know. Holy crap.
Holy.
Can't wait to look through everything. Somebody messaged me.
Yeah, really.
Extraction systems all green. Take your last looks and get up here.
Just stand exactly where it's gonna land. That's a great idea.
Well, I didn't know it was landing right there.
Did you get everything?
Yep. Let's go. I can't wait to check out everything.
Yeah, that was a lot. I didn't expect it to drop that much.
I know. But you know, most of it's probably just gonna be like cosmetic stuff.
I got something for the DMLR.
Nice. But you don't use it much, do
I
you?
think I got the eyeball.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what it... I always honestly scrap it. Let's see.
Oh, I got a rare scrapper skin, too.
Ooh.
See
Alright,
which
let's
one.
see. Ooh, I got Sweetie, but not Neon. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that.
Oh, that's a cool one. Okay. Take a look.
I might rock this for a while. Oh. Well, that's not really necessary. Oh, okay. So that's what that person had. Yeah, but I don't have enough Yuko for it. I don't know.
Scrapper, where in the hell are my tuxedos?
Don't know.
They're missing again. I know it was you.
No, didn't touch them.
I don't know what I heard, but it sounded like somebody just got murdered. Oh, that was good. And 2 more skill points. Okay. Let's do that. Wow.
Hey, Scrappy-o. Any know-how with camera equipment?
Yeah. And don't
Oh my
hold it.
god, that's
No
a
promises.
messed up.
And
Alright,
I've been
so
meaning to snap some new promo
Wrangler
material.
has a
Real
really
action
unique
shots
upgrade.
and the like.
Sounds
What
fun.
does?
Been having a problem with
Using
artifacting on the feed
Equip
board.
gives
These
you a
little
burst
dots
of
always end up in
speed.
the middle.
It's called one
You mean your
line.
crosshairs, the
Huh.
aiming program?
So basically, if I
I
spam
need a
the
hand!
button,
I need Mel or
I
my
can
hand
fucking
here!
sprint.
And this never
You
happens.
know,
Hold on a
Back.
second.
fixes weren't
Ooh.
even illegal.
Never
until
done blackmailed anyone before. It's fun.
Shut up.
I just realized I need to turn down the talking in game because they always end up talking over you. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said that I have a unique ability available to me for Wrangler. It's
Mhm.
called one-liner. Basically, using Equip gives you a burst of speed.
Oh wow.
That's funny.
That's good. That's really good. I need some
I'm
doggone help.
I also am almost level 15, so I can almost... Which is, one's a gunship cannon, which is a high caliber repeating cannon,
Ugh.
and the other is a Trident S2, which is a kinetic multi-shot rifle.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a burst fire. Okay. I'm almost there. I'm not there yet.
What? It's not bad. Goo goo gaga. Find it. Is there anything else I missed?
Oh yeah, check out the skin I got for Scrapper.
Hold on.
It's not anything crazy, but it's a cool color. I like purple stuff.
Let me see. Oh, that's pretty alright. I don't like the color scheme personally.
And then I unlocked the uniform for Glider as well. Twinsies.
Hmm? Oh yeah. See something. Ooh, I like the skin on the Jackrabbit. Look.
Oh, sick. Now you just gotta max it out.
Yep. I don't know why, but I noticed that most of the upgrades you get, most of the upgrades that you'll end up getting that are duplicates always end up being a little worse than ones you already have.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that, and it honestly kind of bugs me. I really don't get it.
Hear a pop burst?
Oh, you know what? That's right. Where's Rochard?
Oh, Roachy, where you at?
Right over here.
Would you like an Atlas per oyster?
Oh, boy, I love these things. You're the best.
Ooh, I just got a new skin.
Wait, well, how did you give him that?
It was something I got. Factory shifted.
Wait. No. Wait, what was it?
Atlas oyster. It should be. You should see how many you have in your storage.
Atlas oyster?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like?
It should look like an ear on one side and an eye on the other. It's an oyster. It is, when you see the image, it looks like an oyster, but like open. But when you're not really like paying attention, you haven't seen it?
Nope. I have not, and I did not know that you could give them to him.
Yeah, and I think he mostly just gives you a cosmetic stuff. It seems.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I broke the metal. No, seriously, you need to come and check out what is going on. Like,
oh no. No, you broke the metal. Oh no. I made it worse. I made it worse. Where's...
Oh, I add, the more weird it gets.
I see. Oh. Oh no, what have you done? What is going on?
No, it's in the ship.
Wait, let me stand on it, hold on. Put more on it, put more on it. Oh. Wait, what happens if I... Now do it, now do it.
Nah, it's up. There it goes.
Never mind. He's all right. Let me fix that real quick. Where is Brew? Do you remember how to change it? I can't remember how to.
Do what?
I can't remember how to change the lobby settings.
Oh, under settings.
Right.
Lobby visibility.
I see it. There it is.
Roshan, please turn that off.
What?
Piss off.
Stop shooting me!
Ow! Shit. The report's gonna love that.
Alright, I think I'm done digging around.
Was that it?
Damn, that hurt.
I think that's it. I want to get off. Alrighty,
Yeah,
but whoever stuck around this long, I hope you have a good night. And thank you for joining for the stream. Have a good night.